Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Who am I, Markiplier? Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm not Markiplier, I'm World Warlock. That's my real name. Welcome back. We're doing another tier list today because I enjoy them and people seem to enjoy them. Today we're doing Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I haven't seen Acolyte yet, so there's no Acolyte characters here. You know, while I love Star Wars, I don't know a lot of Star Wars lore really well, so I've kept it to kind of the main things. There's some Clone Wars stuff here, and other than that, it's just the films, because I don't know, I don't have time to keep up with all of Star Wars, unfortunately. So yeah, if there's any characters missing, please shout at me in the comments, and maybe I'll make a part 2, Star Wars part 2, Attack of the Clones. Yeah. So yeah, let's get started, because why else are we here? And the first one, ooh, we're starting nice and controversial with Rey Skywalker. Oh my goodness, Rey, are you a sorcerer? This is going to be interesting, because I feel like a lot of Force users are kind of automatically sorcerers, because they don't really, you know, they have the Force. Though there is something to be said for everyone in the Star Wars universe having the Force, and maybe everyone does have the Force, and you know, only if you train, you'll become better at using it. But I guess that's the same for sorcerers. Sorcerers just have power, and I'm sure they need to do some training, right? No, I don't think they do. They just know their magic. Cool. So Rey, I know there's always a thing of like, oh, she didn't need to train. It's the same for Luke, so let's not make a big deal out of it. Sorcerer, we're gonna keep Sorcerer for someone else because I have some ideas, I think. However, would she be a fighter? I don't think she's the strongest lightsaber user. I think she's very strong in the Force, but maybe not the strongest lightsaber user. So maybe not a fighter. Maybe not a wizard, because I feel like she's not done loads of research into the Force. You know, maybe Sorcerer is a good one, because while we do see her fight with a lightsaber, I feel like she's not, you know, but I feel like she is competent with a lightsaber, so maybe she would be a paladin? But I have another one in a paladin, and I know this from a previous video, and I know people are going to get angry. You know, for that reason, I'm going to keep it that way. Yes, Rey Skywalker. She's a paladin. Cad Bane. Now, Cad Bane is an absolute unit. If you haven't seen the Clone Wars, watch the Clone Wars purely for Cad Bane, because he is strong. I would put him in Ranger. I put him in Ranger, but I feel like Ranger is such a weak class that I can't do that to him. But it makes sense to put him in Ranger. See, the thing is, he's skilled both in hand-to-hand combat and with guns. He can track you down. Yeah, you know what? I think that works really well. I think he's good at tracking people down. He's good at stalking people. I think Rogue would work well as well, but there's no Rogue on this. So I think a range for Cad Bane makes a lot of sense. Ahsoka is my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Her and Darth Maul. I might put her in fighter because I feel like we don't see her using the Force all that much. I feel like she definitely is quite relatively skilled with the lightsaber. You know, she takes on Darth. Spoiler alert, I guess, if you haven't seen the Clone Wars and Rebels. She takes on Darth Maul and she wins. She takes on Darth Vader and isn't absolutely demolished. She does quite well against Darth Vader. So I feel like fighter works really well for Ahsoka. Yeah, sure. Now, Darth Maul, however, is a barbarian. Absolutely. This man lives. His whole purpose is killing Obi-Wan Kenobi. His rage fuels him and everything he does. This man is the pinnacle of a barbarian in Star Wars. I think if Savage Opress was on this list, then he would also make it into a barbarian, but I think Darth Maul is the ultimate barbarian, okay? That's it. Nothing else. Like, he's a barbarian, right? Palpatine, Lord Sidious. Now, see, I'm tempted to say sorcerer for him, because he is also skilled with a lightsaber, but I feel like he's kind of beyond having to use a lightsaber. Mace Windu beats him in a lightsaber duel, but we don't know what would have happened if it was like a Force standoff, I guess, because he did well against Yoda, and Yoda is strong in the Force. Sorcerer, though, you know what? I feel like Palpatine might be a wizard. I feel like he has studied the Force. I feel like he knows the Force in and out. And I don't know if he's right, if he's actually, you know, when he's manipulating Anakin, I don't know if he's actually, you know, studied both the light and dark side of the Force. But I feel like he knows the Force really well. And I feel like he's done loads of research, he's done lots of reading. So I feel like for that reason, he has to be a wizard, right? He almost must be, because he's powerful. And I feel like he has a wide range of Force abilities. And he just done loads of research. Now, This is where people are going to get angry at me, because I think Darth Vader is also a paladin. Kind of for the same reasons as Rey, but I feel like Darth Vader is a lot more menacing, right? And I feel like the one class in D&D that no one would want to go up against is a paladin, no matter what class you're playing as. And I know there's no like not really PvP, at least in D&D, and there shouldn't be, but I feel like paladins could just absolutely demolish any of these classes whenever they wish. And not just any of these classes, that goes for most monsters as well. So yeah, Darth Vader absolutely is a paladin, strong in the force, has magic, and just an absolute unit with a lightsaber. So yeah, Darth Vader. If this was Anakin, I know they're a bit different. No, I know they're the same, but you know, I feel like sometimes it's fine to rank them as different characters. I feel like Anakin would maybe also go in fighter. I feel like obviously Anakin is incredibly strong in the force, but I feel like we see him use his lightsaber a lot more. And you know, maybe he uses his force abilities to increase his lightsaber abilities, but I feel like fighter works really well for Anakin. General Grievous. I want to say barbarian, because I mean, he's like quadruple wielding weapons, which is not really a barbarian thing. He would be an artificer. Unfortunately, there is no artificer here. He would be an artificer, but I think barbarian, because I feel like he's also kind of... I feel like this goes for a lot of Sith. I know, obviously, he's not a Sith. I know, but you know, he uses the Force. No, he doesn't use the Force. What am I saying? I feel like he uses a lot of rage, and he's such a tank, and he's an absolute unit. Most of these guys are absolute units, and he can't use the Force. You know, he can't use magic, so he's constantly raging, which means he can't use magic or the Force. Yeah, no, Grievous is a barbarian, absolutely, 1,000,000%. Now, Han Solo, I've ranked Han Solo before, but I forgot where I put him. I think I put him in Rogue or Ranger, because obviously he doesn't have magic or the Force, so he's not a wizard, not a sorcerer, not a paladin, not a druid or a cleric. What would a druid be? We'll see when we get there. I don't think he'd be a bard, even though, you know, probably has high charisma. I think Ranger makes sense, and I know it's a bit generic to just put all blaster users in Ranger, but I think it fits for him. I feel like Rogue would be slightly better, but yeah. Finn. Interesting. Finn. Well, he also, not sure if he has the Force, because that was robbed from us. So let's say for now, I don't know if canonically he uses the Force, but from my knowledge he doesn't. So let's say he's not a Force user, so he can be a Ranger, but I don't think Ranger works well for him. Could be a monk. I don't think that works either, because I mean, monks are known for their hard work and determination, and he defects, like, you know, I feel like defecting is not really monk behavior. Druid doesn't make sense. I think fighter doesn't work either. Would he be a bard? Is it good at like rallying people? I feel like he's not very charismatic, at least not later on. I feel like he is initially. If Poe was here, Poe would be a bard. Finn, what are you? Okay, Finn wants to flee, right? And then Rose stops him. So that's kind of the final character stuff that he has, because after The Last Jedi, they forgot that he even exists. So what's a class that would try and flee, like a sneaky person? Well, a bard. I feel like a bard works kind of well for Finn, because people like him, and but I feel like he's usually there to kind of support, and when it gets to actually fighting, he usually runs away, except for against Kylo Ren, you know, the biggest threat he faces in the whole thing. He doesn't run initially, which is kind of brave, so when he needs to, he has bravery. But then, he's a very inconsistent character. It's almost like they didn't care. I'm gonna say bard, and I don't think bard works well, but I don't think anything else works that well here for Finn. So bard, because I like him, and I like John Boyega, and I like bards. So there you go. Jabba the Hutt. What would a crime boss be? Sorcerer? Because he's probably a Nepo baby. Didn't the Hutts rule like Tatooine for like centuries or something? I don't know if it was Jabba the Hutt that did it all by himself, or if it was like before him. I'm gonna say that I think his like parents and grandparents also, you know, ruled Tatooine. So maybe he is a Nepo baby. He's just, you know, taken the family business and is just making endless amounts of money off it. So I'm gonna say sorcerer for Nepo baby's sake. Lando. What would you be? He's also really charismatic. He is the most charismatic character in all of Star Wars. Bard? Is he also a bard just for the sake of being incredibly charismatic? He might be, because I mean, he is I feel like he can talk himself out of any situation. He makes sense as a bard. Finn, I'm really not convinced still, but I don't know what else it would be. Lando, however, is a bard. Mace Windu, fighter. Fighter all the way. He is so powerful. He's such a strong fighter. He takes on Palpatine in a lightsaber fight. I mean, come on. Like, yeah, if he's not a fighter, I don't know who is. I don't know what is. Like, Mace Windu is a fighter all the way. Luke is Skywalker. Now, look, I think Luke is very powerful in the Force. Should I say Paladin for Luke as well? Is it just like the strongest Force users go in Paladin? Because I'm tempted to do that, okay? He's also a strong fighter, don't get me wrong. But I think, I don't know, he becomes very powerful in the Force. But he's also good with a saber. I don't know, Paladin, look at the Mandalorian when he absolutely crushes those things. I feel like Paladin would be the only class that could just melt through those like super droids, whatever they're called, the way Luke Skywalker does. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I feel like Obi-Wan is a very defensive guy, but very powerful. Maybe he's a cleric. And I'm surprised that I'm giving cleric to Obi-Wan because, you know, I feel like if force healing was a thing back then, he definitely would have used that. I feel like how defensive he is gives him a higher AC. Clerics are usually quite tanky, and he cares about people. You know, he is kind of the ultimate support guy, but not in the sense that a bard is a support. Like he will support you. He'll have your back. He'll probably be in front of you, fighting off whoever is there to kind of try and take you out. I think he would be a good cleric. Padme. Now this one's interesting because obviously she's a great politician. And also she's decent with a saber. So that would be high charisma, probably, right? You need to be able to talk to a crowd, so that would be bard, but I don't feel like that's right. Ranger also doesn't feel right. Maybe she's a sorcerer, because she is a queen. Same reason, she's definitely a Nepo baby. She is a queen and then a senator, but really she's only a senator because she was a queen. That's such a weird progression. How'd you go from queen to senator? That makes no sense. But yeah, purely for the Nepo baby vibes and the high charisma, but still good in a fight, I'm gonna say sorcerer. Yeah, Kylo Ren, I think also barbarian. Maybe, you know, I'll take Maul out of barbarian and put him in monk because I feel like he is one of the most athletic characters we see. He's like flipping and he's strong. He's very strong. Obviously barbarians are also strong, but monks use their like non-weapon combat quite a bit. I know I'm supposed to be talking about Kylo Ren now, but I'm going to continue talking about Maul. He uses a lot of like strength and physicality, and he's constantly doing flips and stuff. So he's very dexterous while also strong, and I know his rage keeps him alive literally. So that is very barbarian, but I want to put him in monk because I feel like that works well, and that also frees up a spot for Kylo Ren to go in barbarian because I feel like we see his rage a lot more. You know, I feel like Darth Maul has very much. There's a lot of rage, but he's very much in control, whereas Kylo Ren is not in control at all. So, you know, he is blindly just following his rage. His rage guides him, whereas Darth Maul uses his rage, but which I know is kind of barbarian. But I feel like Kylo Ren uses, you know, a long, heavy, and this is only based on Jedi Survivor, where a crossguard stance is like a heavy, slow weapon. But that doesn't matter. His crossguard thing is kind of, you know, cool and heavy and a bit more powerful or something. So yeah, barbarian, sure. Leia. Also, she is basically Padme, but more interesting and less annoying. Does that mean I also put her as sorcerer? No. I feel like at that point, can you still be a Nepo baby? Like, when you have no more power? She technically is. Obviously, she's Padme's daughter, so that's the only reason she has any power. But I want to say she's so good in a fight. Is she also going to go in Ranger? Because I don't think she has terribly high charisma. She does in a way, but I feel like it doesn't really get her out of any situations. It just gets her into situations. I feel like Ranger works for her. Sure, Leia's a Ranger. Boba Fett. Now, where do we put Boba Fett? I feel like, I don't want to put all of them in Ranger, you know? I don't want to put all blaster users in Ranger, but I feel like it works so well. What else would he be? I mean, he's a clone. He gets all of his power from just being literally created. So maybe Sorcerer works. Maybe he would be a Sorcerer. But then I feel like he doesn't use the Force, but I feel like I've kind of neglected that for Sorcerer here. He is very powerful. He's strong, agile. He can fly. Sorcerers can cast fly, so maybe that's a thing. But at the end of the day, he gets his power from, you know, just being a clone, and it's all just been genetically modified. He had no say basically in how powerful he was going to become. So yeah, sure, he's a sorcerer. Captain Rex are another one of my favorite characters. You know, the Clone Wars really has the best characters. Now Rex, what would you be? I feel like he's a great leader. I'm not going to put him in Ranger, because I feel like he has the charisma of a leader. Not in Bard, because I feel like he's too hands-on. What else has high charisma? Sorcerer, but he's not a sorcerer. Well, you know, for that same reason as putting Boba Fett in there, I could put Rex in here. But, you know, we do see clones train a lot. And I know probably Boba Fett's also trained, but it's different. Rex, what would you be, my boy? A monk, maybe? Because they're so, you know, dedicated to what they do. And I know technically they don't really have a choice, and they're genetically modified to not really have a choice. But I feel like monk kind of works well for Rex. Maybe he's a fighter. No. I'm gonna go for monk just because of his dedication and because of how loyal he is. But also he doesn't try to take center stage, even though he definitely could. Yeah, sure. Okay, Yoda, easy. Cleric. Yoda has to be a cleric. There's no way around it. Obviously, he is very powerful in the Force, and he is good with a saber. But when he doesn't need to, he doesn't use his lightsaber, and he just uses the Force. I feel like also he mainly tries to use it defensively. He tries to heal people, all of that. Yoda is very much a cleric. That one's the easiest. And that one, honestly, that's one of the easiest ones. Yeah, Yoda, I would love to talk more about Yoda, but that's all. And that's the end of the video. That's all. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you disagree, please fight me about it in the comments, because I'll fight back, okay? Give me that sweet engagement, and yes, give me all the likes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, ring the bell, subscribe to my Patreon if you'd like to support me. There's not much on the Patreon, but it would be nice for me. I just don't have time to put much on there. So yeah, if you want to support me, it'd be nice. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.